Atma or Vishnu, and then you have Brahma, the creator of physical worlds, and Shiva, the destroyer, and Vishnu would be the preserver. Well, all these have their counterparts in Christianity. There's no difference. There is no difference at all. Krishna is Christ, Jesus is Vishnu, and Satan is Satanan or Shiva, and Jehovah would be Brahma. So it's all there. The names are different, but the teaching is the same. And so only one with their eyes open and ears to hear can really, really fathom this. It's no use. It's no use talking to the average person about these things. It goes way beyond. And they've been told that their religion is supreme and exclusive, and all the others are lies and blasphemous and from the devil. And even in Christianity, they suffer with this mentality. You know, the Jehovah's Witnesses will tell you that the Mormons are demon worshippers, and the Mormons will tell you that the Jehovah's Witnesses are. And you can go to all the churches and you can ask them all individually whether the other churches are demon worshippers, and they'll tell you, oh yeah, in no uncertain terms, they are all demon worshippers except for us.
Yeah.
And so this is exclusivism. This is detrimental. It is very harmful to humanity. Once upon a time, we used to be able to travel from nation to nation, and we used to be able to worship our gods from our nation under different names, and we knew who they were, because you can't. There's only one supreme being, root cause of all causes, and everyone acknowledges that anyway. So whether they have respect for what's called the nature gods, the demigods, they always go back to the one Godhead, and that Godhead is a Trinity. That Godhead is, in the Eastern system, it is Krishna and his consort Radharani. Now, Radharani is his beautiful goddess, and that would correspond with Mary, Queen of Virgin, Queen of Heaven. Mm-hmm. And so what this patriarchal system has done is it's removed as there you go, you can see there Radharani, there she is behind the deer there, and there's Krishna with his flute, blue of course. Mm-hmm. And Radharani is the Queen of the Heavens. Now in Egypt that was Isis, in Rome that's Mary, Isis Mary, and this part of the Godhead has been removed, although the Catholic Church always acknowledges Mary, the Virgin, and that she's the Mother of God, etc., etc. They still have a patriarchal system where the feminine part has been either abolished or subdued, or it has been what's the word I'm looking for? There is a particular adjective that I want to use here, and I might recall it in a minute. But the point is that they did this to unbalance us, because what we are going to experience if we are true children of the Creator and returning back to the Godhead, we will experience what's known in the Eastern system as the sacred secret doctrine of indescribable oneness with difference. Mm-hmm. And that is exactly what we're destined to experience. Whereas by removing the goddess, what happens now is we have a god, boy god, and so only one area of our higher mind is activated, and that's the logical side. Whereas the intuitive side, which is feminine, is not activated. And so what happens is, what we experience is difference only in this world, with a promise of being one with God, as all of the gurus are teaching, to to go to the white light and to be one with God, etc. That's fine, but that's also a kind of spiritual suicide. Mm-hmm. The true doctrine Yeah, the true doctrine is way better than that. It's inconceivable oneness with difference. So in other words, as John 1:1 says, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. So all other creatures and all other beings are with God at the same time being one with God. And so this is what's at stake, Zanny. It's what's at stake is our ultimate destiny. We can go beyond the white light. We can go beyond the void, which a lot of teachers called Mayavadis are teaching, because they are teaching about Maya and the illusion, and that we are already God, and so we don't need to do anything. There's no service required. Whereas the scriptures all teach that there's only one true way of knowing the Creator, and that is surrender and service. Whereas they're not teaching this, and the reason being is because going to the white light is risky. There one can be returned to this plane, and so if they can harvest, if they can indoctrinate a whole world into believing that you go to the white light or any other thing short of our true destiny, which is to return to the Godhead, to be one with and to be with the Godhead, they will always have good little slaves here on earth to harvest their energy from. And that's what they've been doing for thousands of years. They've learned how to create demons or egregores, which are thought forms and emotion forms. These are self-created entities. We do it all the time. We all create our own demons. But what Rome has done is they've created composite egregores, or more powerful egregores through communion of crowds or groups or gangs. So the Vatican will gang up with the Freemasons, and they'll gang up with the Knights Templar and the Knights of Malta and the royal aristocracy and the moneymakers like the Rothschilds, and they will enter a pact and a coven whereby they will do their rituals and conjure up demonic entities and give more life force to their creations. And how they do this is by swearing allegiance and working together and bringing crowds of people to their plazas and to their forums to give them energy. So in other words, when you go to the Vatican, anytime you go to St. Peter's Square, you are actually giving life to their egregores. And so their demonic war machine, the military-industrial complex that needs bloodshedding at all costs, is supported by unsuspecting, half-cocked, half-witted payers who are supporting this system. And that's what it means in the scripture to be worshipping demons. Anyone who is worshipping demons will be rewarded accordingly. And that will be to remain in realms of suffering, birth, death, misery, and material existence. There is only suffering on this plane to certain degrees. Some people suffer less due to good deeds, but in between little moments of bliss and moments of enlightenment and joy that we have, probably 3 seconds every day on average, the rest is full of suffering and misery and doubt and fear and guilt and that's of course by degree. That depends on how much good work we've done. My bliss has increased exponentially from when I first started waking up. So, and I know you yourself will probably concur with that. As we awaken more and more, our bliss factor increases and the suffering diminishes. Nonetheless, you cannot escape the suffering.
No. There is a saying that we only suffer in the flesh. So maybe we only suffer here on this realm. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, in material worlds there is only suffering. In spiritual worlds there is Chit, Ananda, which is consciousness, existence, consciousness, and bliss. Sat, Chit, Ananda. And
I write that down. Such.
yeah, S-A-T, C-H-I-T, and then A-N-A-N-D-A, Ananda. And of course, this is the nature of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this is our true nature and all that our soul desires and craves for, which is to be liberated.
Yeah. Would you say that, you know, all the ailments that we suffer are a result of society, you know, being forced into the cities and the towns and living on top of each other and abiding by, you know, their rules?
Yes, it is. The whole idea of cities is to create civil citizens. They all share the same root, and that root is slavery. Citizen, civil. This is all Roman slavery, dressed up to sound like we're all so clever. You know, we're part of a functioning city, but it's all slavery. We are controlled in those cities. We are told what to do. We are told what to think. We are not allowed to express certain opinions. Certain truths are not tolerated. They want their truth. They want their conditioned truths only to be supported. And they spend a lot of time and money putting energy and power into their particular truths. For instance, global warming, and let's go and collect taxes now so we can fix this, as if nature is not able to repair its own, you know, its own weaknesses, as it always does. So it's just man interfering with nature and creating shortages and scarcities as part of their demonic religion of worshipping egregores rather than the Creator. So it's just man seeking glory for himself and seeking money and power for himself, and teaching the unenlightened, half-witted section of humanity, which will be probably 95%, how to follow and give worship to their creations rather than the Creator.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. I always feel that, you know, living within a society and abiding by other people's rules, you know, even coming down to weekdays, you know, you can only do things Monday to Friday, and then on a Saturday and Sunday you have the freedom to spend that time with your children, or, you know, but the rest of the week you've got to put your children into the care of strangers while you go and break your back working to make somebody else rich or whatever. That has never sat well with me. It just doesn't feel natural. And I would say that humanity has had a divorce from nature in a large extent.
We've been divorced from our nature through demonic thoughts. Now, what is a demon? Well, people have their own ideas, but simply a demon is a service to self creature, entity, being. Some are beings, some are creatures. Creatures are created. Beings have no created beginning. And so these entities serve themselves. And they know that in order to hoodwink mankind and harvest their energy and power, they have to create false models of nature, you see. So one of the false models is gravity. Gravity, not even Newton believed in gravity, and of course it was a hypothesis. And so, and all of the equations under the sun that you can put together and try to understand will never explain gravity, and nothing ever will, because it's hocus pocus bogus pseudoscience. And yet people use it to explain everything. Oh yes, gravity does this, gravity does that. Gravity is able to carry flying jets in the air and actually carry them in the same atmosphere, so that if they're flying from Paris to New York, it's actually on a spinning globe. It's exactly the same time flying from New York to Paris. Now, this is just sheer insanity, but even airplane pilots subscribe to this hocus pocus bogus buffoonery. Whereas, you know, if they really understood the true nature of the universe, everything that is up is up. And I'm not upside down here in Australia.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. And so what they'll have you do is they'll indoctrinate us with globes in our kindergartens and in our primary and secondary and tertiary education. There's a globe everywhere. And no one has ever provided one single shred of evidence that we live on a globe. And in fact, every single thing that they do provide in terms of so-called evidence is hocus pocus, ridiculous buffoonery. And you know, it can be silenced with just short little sentences of evidence, truth, and knowledge, because everything supports that we live on a flat plane, and everything is absolutely up and down, and the whole universe works this way. So this relativism of the Darwinians and the Copernicans and the Aristotelians, they're all just a bunch of monkeys. They're all just a bunch of materialist, speculative philosophers, have no connect to natural transcendental science. And so your transcendental scientists like Pythagoras and Plato, they get silenced. And how they did this was, of course, Rome shut down the Neoplatonic schools in the 6th century. Justin the Emperor, the criminal, did this. So that the Aristotelian buffoonery can you know, overtake the world, and the world has gone after Aristotle and his moronic, materialistic teachings like Darwin and Newton and Einstein, and all these will go down in history once they're revealed as buffoons. They've played the part of buffoon perfectly well. They are imbued in worldly wisdom, which is foolishness in the eyes of the Creator, and they give glory to themselves. These are glory seekers. They don't give glory to the Creator. They don't care to. They want the glory for themselves, and that glory will be removed from them, and they will be put to shame. They will be written. Their names will be written in the book of shame for all of eternity, for the disgraceful harm that they've done to humanity, for teaching such ridiculous stupidity that we live on a ball and I'm upside down. And it's funny that my body is actually being sucked onto this 1,000-mile-an-hour spinning ball, hurtling through space at 67,000 miles an hour. Horrendous stupidity, and people just go after this madness. And yet, you know, little butterflies will flutter by and just not pay any attention to the gravity that keeps me sucked to the earth. And so, but we've all been sucked in by it. We've all been drawn in by the lies, because the bigger you tell them, the harder people fall. So, so my purpose in life is to, you know, bust all the fictions, as I call it. I use an Australian colloquialism, and to deflate this Humpty Dumpty globe and Santa ball and buffoonery, and bring back the ancient sciences. And all the scriptures concur with the geocentric model. The Bible is replete with flat Earth truth. In fact, if you'd like to, I can share you some of those scriptures with you.
Absolutely, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, great. Well, Psalm 24:2, for he has founded it on the seas and established it on the floods. So it's known that the Earth, the terrestrial part of planet Earth, planet Earth, is sitting on waters. I mean, even the erroneous ball model teaches that. Psalm 33:9, for he spoke and it was done, he commanded and it stood fast. That's the earth. In other words, it doesn't move, it stands fast.
Yeah.
Psalm 104:5, he established the earth upon its foundations so that it will not totter forever and ever. So the foundations of earth are founded firmly, and it will not move or totter forever and ever. Here's another one. He stretches out the north over the empty place and hangs the earth on nothing, because the earth is hanging in a torus field. And see, all of these torus systems all around the universe are hanging upon nothing. And this is in the book of Job 26:7. Job 28:4-7. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? 1 Samuel 2:8. He raises the poor from the dust and lifts the needy from the ash heap. He seats them with princes and has them inherit the throne of honor. For the foundations of the earth are the Lord's. On them he has set the world. Psalm 19:4. The heavens declare the glory of God. There is no speech, nor are there words. Their voice is not heard. Their line has gone out through all the earth, and their utterances to the end of the world. The end of the world, indicating a flat plain. In them he has placed a tent for the sun, which is as a bridegroom coming out of his chamber. It rejoices as a strong man to run its course. I've explained all this. This is a tent or a tabernacle. It's a vortex coil type of tent-like structure, like a teepee, and the sun goes from circling around above the earth plane from the Tropic of Capricorn, and it climbs up to the Tropic of Cancer, and it actually contracts as it goes up to the Tropic of Cancer, and then once it reaches there, it expands as it goes down to the Tropic of Capricorn again. And this is the motion of the sun. Here is also some secular evidence of a knowledge of a flat earth. Theophilus of Antioch in the 2nd century said, the heavens, therefore, being like a dome-shaped covering, comprehended matter, which was like a clod. So there you go again, speaking about this wonderful vault or firmament above the earth. And here is another, that was Theophilus of Antioch. Here is Rubaiyat of Omar. He said, and that inverted bowl we call the sky, where under crawling cooped we live and die, lift not thy hands to it for help, for it rolls impotently on as though or I.
Oh,
So,
very poetic.
again,
Yeah.
The Sumerians said the boundary between the primeval sea and the earth was a solid vault within which was the gas-like atmosphere. The stars, planets, sun and moon were embedded in its solid vault. So this concurs with all the evidence today that we are finding that the stars are actually embedded in a vault-like firmament above our heads, only a few thousand miles up. And this is why the constellations of the sky do not change shape, and there's no parallax observed.
Absolutely.
You were saying, sorry?
No, I'm just concurring with everything that you say. You know, it fits with the research that I've been doing, and it's just good to have it, you know, from the ancient scriptures, you know, just confirming this.
Yeah, look, I've got evidence from Srimad Bhagavatam. I've got evidence from the Quran. The Bible is full of this. This is just a handful of these scriptures that indicate that the earth does not move. It will not totter forever and ever. The Quran also talks about the creation of the earth, and when the Lord made the earth, that it was. Oh, hang on. Sorry, there's someone at the front door. Just
Okay,
one moment.
Yeah, you get that. Come on.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Was that the Jehovah's Witnesses?
No. They wouldn't last long at my door. I'd be too. I used to be a witness for 30 years, knocking on people's doors, trying to save them to God's kingdom.
Yeah. How did you break free from that? You know, what was it that you know did it for you that you no longer wanted to be a Jehovah's Witness?
Well, religion in its pure form is transcendental science. So I practice religion, always have. But religions, especially corporate religions, these are pure satanic demon worshipping organizations. Nonetheless, they do offer a service, and it's a necessary service. It's inconceivable and impossible to really fathom how this works, but they do. It's like a boot camp, I guess. They do work out for the good, and the good-hearted ones, it's inevitable that they will come out of the religions. It's like a tunnel. You don't go into a tunnel to stay into in it. You go through it to get out of it.
Yeah.
And that's what the religions are like. They are there for you to go through, and then when you get out, then you are free, and then you see the light, and the light at the end of the tunnel is getting out of religions, and then to practice religion. True religion, which is true religion, true worship is purely and simply surrender and service to the Creator, and that everything we do glorifies the Creator, because the Creator deserves this. It doesn't demand it, but our reason and our intellect and our intelligence tells us that the Creator deserves our respect and our worship, and it is our link to happiness. This service. There's only two roads of service: service to self or service to others. And that service to others is what is known as service to the Creator. When you do good deeds for poor people, when you do good deeds for others and help others in their times of trouble, this is serving the Creator. And these are the good deeds that the Creator is pleased to see and will bless. But you see, most people don't understand this principle, and therefore they are materialistic, and what they are doing is actually rendering service either to themselves or to their bellies, or to false concepts, false idols, and those would be everything that that the demon worshipping entities have devised, such as the globe and gravity and all of these buffooneries.
Yeah. I just want to skip back a little bit to where you was talking about hocus pocus, and I have a little theory of my own, and I just want to know how you feel about it. And it's about how humanity has been hoodwinked into this belief of the heliocentric model and the stuff that NASA put out. And in my mind, the only way I can see it is that we're under some kind of hypnotism. And is it possible that there are some kind of spells in the words used to bring us under this hypnotism of, of this belief of the heliocentric model?
What was the question? Sorry, just quickly.
Are there some kind of spells in the words used to bring us under some kind of hypnotism of the heliocentric model?
Yes, see, the ancients knew, the good ones, the transcendental scientists like the Neoplatonists and the Hermetists, not the Aristotelian buffoons of material, speculative, empirical philosophy. They knew that the sun is the ruler of the solar system, but they knew that the Earth was the center, so it's geocentric, you see. And it's probably what the G inside the compass and square of Freemasonry is really, really indicating, that in the center is Gaia, Pangea, or just Gaia, our mother. She is, yeah, Earth is like it is a form of Isis. The moon is another form of Isis. The Milky Way galaxy is another form of Isis. So everywhere there are different expansions of Isis, our mother, Radharani, who is here depicted in this Vedic artwork here. And this Godhead of Krishna and Radha, Christ and Mary, are the root and cause of all phenomena, and they are personal gods. They're not impersonal entities, which is what a lot of spiritual people will try to teach you, that there's no person. So what they do is they put you in the middle, in the lukewarm, neither hot nor cold. So you've got service to self, cold, and you've got service to others, hot, and in the middle you have this neutral ground where all these spiritual gurus and new age teachers want you to believe that there's no being of service. I don't think we can share the link, can we, at the moment?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. So no one can join us in this call?
No.
Oh, sorry. I shared it. I'll have to tell my friend. We'll have to wait till it's...
I don't mind if she wants to sit and listen,
Yeah, just perhaps turn the video off or something and the audio muted. I'll tell her. Hang on.
It's muted. I can see the audio's muted, so...
Okay.
But yeah, welcome, friend.
All right, because I wasn't sure. I thought maybe you could listen in. All right. So what we have is... what was the question again, please?
The original question was, is humanity under some kind of spell that helps this hypnosis of us falling for the heliocentric model?
Yeah. The powers that be, they know the true nature of the cosmos. Mm-hmm. Let's make no mistake about that. It is in their interest to manipulate the cosmologies. Now, someone like me who is reasonably well read, all my life I've been a studious studier of the Bible, Eastern books, and I've been aware of the geocentric model of my life. So when people say, oh, how long have you been a flat earther, or how long have you known about the flat earth? Since I was a little boy. I remember laughing at the people who believed in it as a Jehovah's Witness. Oh, how silly they are. You know, now we know it's a globe. We just know it, don't we? There's this knowing, perhaps it comes from kindergarten, where we saw the little globe there next to the teacher's, you know, on the teacher's desk there. That's probably where we think we know it from, but we don't know it. We know nothing.
No.
We are totally ignorant about this beautiful world that we live on. So it's their interest to dupe us and to steal our true heritage from us. So yeah, I've known about the flat earth for years and years, and laughed about it all the time, you know, because of the indoctrination. But if we were all less indoctrinated, and we didn't go to school and everything like that, and we just had all our books, we had Bhagavad Gita, we had Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bible, and Quran and everything like that, we would never have fallen for it. Never, ever. Because they only speak about a flat, stretched out earth, and the Bible always talks about the ends of the earth. And the good news of the kingdom shall be preached to the ends of the earth. And I have built the earth to be founded, and it will not totter forever and ever and ever. It is immovable. The scriptures, the Bible is full of this. It's full of it. And nowhere does it talk about a sphere. And yet people insist that it speaks about a sphere. They insist out of their own ignorance and stupidity. Whereas the Bible only speaks about a circle and a plane, and how immovable that it is. And if anything, it indicates that the sun is moving. You know, things like the legend of Joshua, how he stopped the sun and he lifted up his rod and he prayed to the Lord and he said, please, you know, please let the sun stand still. Well, there you go. Why would it need to stand still if it was already standing still? Obviously because it's not.
Exactly.
Yeah, so yeah, we have been hoodwinked, and we've been hoodwinked not by people like you and I. This is why we cannot accept so easily this lie. And I see intelligent people who have suspended their intelligence, who will not even look at the evidence, which is bountiful, that we live on a flat plane, simply because of this indoctrination. Now, I find that this is the nastiest religion that I have ever seen. I've seen how religions hurt people and cause them to want to hate you for saying something contrary to what they believe, but this is the big one. This is the one that indoctrinated people just absolutely will defend without a shred of evidence that they live on a ball, and yet they will defend it, it seems, to the death. They will pull out a gun, they'll shoot you in the head, they will stab you in the face with a knife to defend this globe. It's incredible how much of a grip it has on I've seen it. I've got hundreds and hundreds of dud syncretists who were once syncretists who now you know, I've had to unfriend, who have unfriended me, and they're off with the Santa ball and you know, in the Humpty Dumpty globe, and they're gone, and they're following their demonic religion. You know, they're not prepared to consider the evidence. The reason why I have gone back to the ancient traditions is because I have done my homework, and I have done it extensively to the nth degree, and I am totally 100% satisfied and convinced and know that we live on a flat plane. Our eyes alone tell us that. You know, everywhere you go, you can stand on the highest mountain and you'll always see the horizon at your eye level. That can never be on a ball, no matter how big the ball is. You can have the biggest ball in the universe, it will always curve, and the horizon will never, ever, ever come up to your eye level. And yet you can go to Mount Everest, you can go 40, 50,000, 60,000, 100,000 feet high in the sky, and you will always see a flat horizon coming up to your eye level, which indicates that this disk goes on probably forever.
Yeah.
Not forever, but
as far as we can tell, as far as we can see, you know.
Yeah.
If we lived on a ball, then the horizon would have to fall away from us. No matter where you lived on that ball, you'd be at the highest point, and the horizon would fall away from you in every direction. And you can do this on a simple computer generation. The higher you go, the horizon always rises to eye level if you're doing it on a flat plane. And if you're doing it on a ball model, the horizon will always fall away from you.
Always, no matter how big that sphere is. And yet we live on supposedly a globe with a diameter of about, I don't know, 12,000 miles, but supposedly the circumference is 25,000 miles.
Yeah.
Now that's very, very small, really. That's not.
Thank you. I always thought that seemed just way too small.
It is, and this you should. You know, airplane pilots. I get people writing to me saying, "Oh, Santos, I've got a pilot friend, and he says you've always got to correct the nose for curvature of the Earth." BS. Because if they were flying at 600 or 700 miles an hour, they would have to be dipping constantly, not correcting every now and then. No, no, no. This is buffoonery. They would have to constantly be flying downward to cope with the slope. Constantly. They would never, ever, ever once lift their nose to level off. They couldn't afford to. It would be constant. I mean, I've got one thing, just the one thing that just blows the ball out of existence and proves conclusively that it is a dud, buffoon, hocus pocus, bogus pseudoscience monstrosity. One thing, and that is all of these images we have of the star trails of the North Pole.
Yeah.
People don't think. They don't think. That cannot happen unless we are firm and that is moving.
Exactly.
Because if you're on a ball, so this is how stupid people are. They just do not think things through. I'll just grab. Hang on one tick. I'll just grab a round object here. So. Grapefruit.
Grapefruit, yes.
Yep.
Perfect.
And so here's the North Pole, supposedly. The axis of the Earth is running through there. And it's tilted, supposedly. Yep. So here's someone over here in Italy. And this smart individual is about, what, 37, 40 degrees south of that North Pole, and he puts his time-lapse camera on, and he's sitting there at night 10 hours, and so with the rotating ball, he starts here, and then 10 hours later he's over here.
Yeah.
And yet he has got a perfect. What they show, what the camera shows is there's Polaris, the North Star, and you see all the so there's Polaris, and you see all the star trails going around like this, perfectly.
In perfect circles.
In perfect circles. That is a moving route. The only way you can get that is if your axis, your camera, is right on the North Pole. It has to be taken from there in order to get that effect. Because if you're over here moving, if you're moving around a ball that is spinning, those stars, they're not going to do circles. They're going to be doing trails horizontally.
Absolutely.
Horizontal trails. They have to. See, people just don't think things through. There's a million of these things that can just debunk the globe. It is truly, truly, truly demon worship at its worst, and people just bowing down to these and defending it. And they'll defend things like we went to the moon.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to qualify to go to the moon. If people only read their sacred texts, they will know that only qualified spirit beings can go to the moon. No clumsy astronauts in clumsy space
in tin cans and silly spacesuits. Yeah.
Yes. It's all a fraud. It's massive, massive mind control to manipulate people's deceptions. And people ask, oh, well, so what? I don't care where I live. It's like this is how stupid people are. What does it matter whether we live on a flat plane or a globe? I don't care. There's more important things. More important things? You know, it's like the cow at the abattoirs. You know, it's got all this hay to eat, and it's sitting there going, wow, I don't care if I'm running out in the grass. I don't care where I am. I've got this grass to eat. 10 minutes later, they grab that cow by the ears, drag it up the ramp, and then put a bullet in its head, and then start cutting it up to pieces and sending it to the supermarket so we can have barbecues. That's what's going to happen to all these idiots who are asking, oh, what does it matter where we live? This is how empty people are. Oh yeah, go and watch Liverpool beat Manchester United, please. You know, go and pay $50 to eat that demonic food that they have there, and watch these demonic spectacles to give more worship and glory to more demons, so that you can. Yeah. Well, the scriptures tell people that people who live like that will go to hell. You know, and hellish places are there waiting with open arms for them to receive these people who, you know, what does it matter where we live?
we need to know where we live. We need to know where we're from in order to understand where we're going. That's my view.
Yeah, these people have been sucked in by the New Age buffoonery, and they're waiting for the Galactic Federation of Clowns to come in their space vehicles to save them. And the Galactic Federation of Clowns doesn't exist. It's a crock. There is only us, and there is only the Creator and angelic beings, and there's no space people coming to save us, and there's no federations of buffoons out there saving us. We save ourselves. We, with our intelligence.
Yeah.
Why can't people say, well, hang on a minute, I'm going to let my own intelligence, which is Christ within, save me? Why? Why are they deferring and waiting and sitting back going, oh yeah, but we've just got an email from the Galactic Federation, and they've got all their spaceships hiding behind the moon now, and they're going to just pop out one day, and of course they never do come, but one day they will, you know, just wait. And so you've got these churchgoers are waiting for some buffoon historical Jesus to come from in the clouds, and then you've got these New Agers waiting for the spacecraft to come and save them, and no one's thinking about saving their own butts with their own intelligence because they're too stupid and too much fluoride and too much who knows what they've done. I mean, I'm dumb. I know I'm dumb. I'm as stupid as I'm just dumb, and yet I know these things. So whatever little shred of intelligence that I've got, I must be applying it, because they're obviously not.
Yeah.
Not even the shred that they've been granted by the Creator are they putting to good use. And this is sin. This is a crime, not to use your intelligence to think for yourself. At least in my own stupidity that I'm dressed with and conditioned with, at least I insist on using my own intelligence and to see my own evidence and to have direct knowledge, not just opinion and sense. You see, this is where people confuse opinion and sense with intellect and reason. You see, your Platonists will tell you that you use your intellect and your reason, whereas your Aristotelians, they will say, what does your opinion, what does your sense tell you? Look around and what does your sense tell you? So they really founded this, you know, this Darwinian, Keplerian, Copernican, globe, gravity, evolution, demon buffoonery. It all goes back to these speculative philosophers. They've done so much harm. It's untold harm they've done to humanity. And, you know, the joke's on them. They defend their belief systems without any evidence, just really emphasizing and compounding their stupidity, really. I have no tolerance, as you can see, for stupidity. I really have no. I don't have any tolerance for my own stupidity. I walk around and see all the stupid things that I do every day, and it just makes me cringe. Just imagine what they're doing, you know. Oh, that's why I'm living a hermit in the rainforest, because I don't want to see people doing stupid things which are more stupid than my stupidity. You know, I can't do that. I'd rather die. I'd rather die than...
I think the problem there is, Santos, is you recognise the stupid things that you do, whereas on the whole, most people don't recognise the stupid things they do. They think they're being quite clever, you know, they think they've got it all sussed out, and you know, they're doing it the right way. So I think that's the biggest problem for most people.
Yeah, I'm enjoying this because I nonetheless love to torment the ignoramuses. I've got a whole bunch of guys now that are wanting to debate me. Oh, I want to debate Santos. You know, they don't want to offer any help to humanity with evidence and real proofs. They just want to have a debate, you see, because basically they see that I'm getting the attention of intelligent people, and well, they get nothing with all the efforts that they're putting out. Buffoons like Danny Wilton, for instance, he's infatuated with NASA cartoons, you know, of the Orion Nebula.
Well,
these are clearly sorry.
NASA cartoons. I mean, the whole space program was sold to humanity purely on cartoons. When you go back to the late 50s, early 60s, that was just all cartoons, you know, and it was sold to the gullible masses that this is how we're going to get to space, this is how we're going to get to the moon, and it was just children's cartoons, nothing more.
Yep.
Know?
Yeah, here's a guy who's devoted all of his energy, and he's got a following of many, many clowns, of course, that follow. It's the blind leading the blind, and they want a debate. Now, I think to myself, there won't be a debate. Does Christ debate with Satan? The scriptures say there is no communion with Christ and Belial. What have I to do with these morons? It's like going to kindergarten to try and teach children that there isn't any Santa Claus. Number one, you'll do harm to them because, well, they believe in Santa Claus, so let them go until they grow up and work out that it doesn't exist. Number two, you're reducing the holy science to debate with pseudoscience.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
And so you've got a whole bunch of these clowns like half asleep, half a sheep, making videos from New Zealand, wanting to debate Santos, Bonacci. You've got Johan Oldenkamp, who all he does is holy science. That would be whole, as in it's got holes in it, because he does not know holy, sacred science. It's holy, as in it's got holes everywhere. I never had much respect for that moron anyway, because he is basically is a meat eater. He's a dog eater, and they're all dog eaters. That's what Bhagavan calls meat eaters. Their brains are polluted. They cannot think. They cannot reason because they eat dogs. And when the blood is polluted, there's no way to ascend internally, to go up in here to see the white light and the blue light and have activation. These people have had no activation.
Santos,
And
can you just explain quickly for anyone that's going to watch this how eating meat pollutes the body?
yeah, well, there are particles of blood in the meat, no matter how much it is cleaned. And these particles of blood combine with the human blood and pollute it. The blood, the scriptures tell us clearly that the soul of the animal is in the blood. So when you take the meat of an animal, you are actually taking that blood, not only physically but also etherically. You're consuming the etheric atoms of blood. That is the etheric counterpart of the physical, because molecule for molecule, every molecule that makes your body in the physical world, you have another molecule in the transcendental world. And so your other half, your other self, your etheric self, is actually the spirit being which has molded your physical being. And so when you eat animals, you are actually ingesting their karma, their fears, their way of thinking. And so what happens is that flesh pollutes the blood, and you cannot ascend to use this cerebrum. You use your solar plexus. And the solar plexus is the animal mind. And so it receives pictures. It does not receive, it's not a two-way mind that is self-reflecting. So they don't have that power of self-reflection so well. And what they have only is they have a very fully cultivated, fear-based animal mind. And you cannot go to God. You cannot ascend to the Creator with that mind. And I would suggest that you'd need 7 years of not eating the flesh of animals in order to cleanse the blood and to make it pure for ascension.
Yeah.
At least 7 years.
I mean, eating meat actually has never felt right to me. I spent many years from being about 10 to 16 as a vegetarian, and then I fell off the wagon, and recently again I've gone back to not eating the dead flesh of animals, and I already feel so much cleaner, so much healthier, and more connected, to nature again. So
syncretism came to me after I stopped eating animals 7 or 8 years ago. It wouldn't have come to me without it. There's no way. You cannot get the blessings of syncretism when you're eating animals. You can't get any kind of stuff working up here at all. It's all polluted. And sure, they've got their intelligence, but it's limited intelligence. It's animalistic. It's materialistic. They can only see materialistic complex concepts. They cannot think on the spiritual plane. This is why you will find that only spiritual people who are truly, truly free of material demon worship can understand the true cosmology that we live in. This is why I know automatically I don't have to debate with meat eaters and dog eaters, swine eaters, about, their buffoon, heliocentric crock. I don't have to do that. I don't have to degrade this holy science. I will forever be lifting it up and praising the Creator. They give praise to their own bellies. See, they want a debate because they want some glory. They want to see if they can humiliate Santos, the chief syncretist in the world. You see, this is what happened to Marsilio Ficino and Giordano Bruno and Giovanni Pico della Mirandola when Rome wanted to stop him teaching syncretism and vegetarianism and philosophy and transcendental science. He went down to Rome to debate with him. They poisoned him. You see? he was good enough to do that, and they poisoned him, and he probably deserved to die, because you don't need to go down to debate with demons. Do not do that stuff.
No.
That's so harmful to everything. You keep this sacred science clean, and you do not give it to swine. You debate with swine, you're giving it to swine. And these people are swine, and they don't know it. I feel sorry for them. I love them. But they are more stupid than they can possibly imagine. And their hearts are full of swine meat. This is why the Muslims and the Jews will not touch swine. They'll give it to the dumb goy, and they'll have it for, you know, breakfast, a bit of pig's bum, bacon and eggs. Oh, what are you having with your cappuccino there, Mr. Sophisticated, in your lovely little smelly cafe? Oh, just a little bit of pig bum with chicken period called egg, bacon and eggs. Oh, how smart we are. Neither of these foods should be even given to the dogs. Not even to the dogs should be eating that food, let alone humans. The stuff that humans are eating is just incredible. Incredible. It shows their stupidity. They go to the supermarket and come back with frozen chunks of cow's bum. They've got chicken bum. They've got pig's bum. They put it in their freezer, and they spend a lot of electricity keeping those bums all nice and frozen in their fridges so that they can eat these animal bums. You are what you eat.
Mm.
I sound like a pretty angry guy, don't I?
No, I think you sound like an intelligent guy, to be fair. I just think you have your stance, and you stand by it, and, you know, thumbs up to that.
Yeah. The honest truth is I have enough love for all of humanity and enough forgiveness for all of humanity. I mean, that's obvious. I've done all my work for free, given it for free online. I never ask for any support, any money, any kind of anything. I just give that stuff away to illuminate people, and I've got enough forgiveness for them, but my anger is directed only to people's false egos, which is their stupidity. This stupidity should not be tolerated, and I will always, always be singing and crying this from the rooftops, and I will always expose the stupidity of the world. We've had stupid men and women now, like your Hillary Clintons and all of these, you know, emasculated men, women, trying to prove some sort of power trip and everything like that, and support their demonic Copernican teachings, and we've tolerated them for too long. You know, we should not even allow people like Barack Obama to open his mouth.
No.
There should be a some kind of a device closing their mouths until the day they die for the stupidity that comes from the vomit that comes from their mouths. Hillary Clinton's, Malcolm Turnbull, the Australian Prime Minister, all of these buffoons. These are criminals stealing money from unsuspecting dupes, teaching them about balls and gravity and all kinds of satanic and misfit, erroneous stupidity, and people just swallow that up like it's all true.
Yeah, they just eat it for breakfast every day, and then go and spread the word themselves, and it's very harmful and detrimental to humanity as far as I can see.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, pig's bum for breakfast. So when they hear swine speaking, they can't tell. Oh, there's a globe and there's gravity and it's all magic and it sticks all the boats to the bottom of Australia, but it can't stick the butterflies. And it's funny how we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour at the equator, and yet all of the floating continents don't propagate towards the centrifugal thrust, which is centered at the equator. They're all over the place. It's funny how that doesn't happen, but it's gravity. Oh, what a magic word it is. And the world has gone after it.
A magical force that holds the millions of tons of ocean water to the earth, but yet it lets bugs fly in any which direction. You know, it lets smoke rise. You know, it lets the water vaporize. It just doesn't make any sense at all. It's hogwash, basically.
Of course, it's not supposed to make sense. It's supposed to be indoctrinated, inculcated, and it's the educations. It's not illumination.
No.
All of those words to me. I ran away. I ran out of school at the age of 15. I was out of there.
Yeah, me too.
And yeah, and I went to pick tobacco. I went to pick tobacco because that's what we had where I was growing up, was tobacco. And my father had a lemonade factory, so I worked in my father's lemonade factory, and I was thinking of all the poor fools that were at school, and I was free. So yeah, and so I just bought all my own books and did my own studying at home. You know, and I learned more in one page of one book than I learnt in 3 years, all years that I was at school. You know, so yeah, this indoctrination, this inculcation is very severe. I see. I would have thought that people had more intelligence than what they've displayed. I just see people very, very stupid.
I mean, I think one of the most dangerous things that they do is, you know, teaching 7, 8-year-olds that they're more intelligent than their ancestors. You know, oh, you know, so many years ago they all believed the world was flat, ha ha ha. But now we know different, you know, and you know much more than they did then. You know, how is teaching an 8-year-old that they're more intelligent than their ancestors going to help them? You know, it's not.
Yeah, that's right. So, in other words, just burn Srimad Bhagavatam, burn the Bible, burn the Quran, burn all these sacred texts that are teaching geocentric, flat Earth, firmly fixed, non-moving, non-rotating. Just get rid of that, and let's go with Copernicus, who said in the foreword of his book, this is for Johann Oldenkamp, the guy who teaches the science with holes in it, called the Holy Science, quite appropriately, the moron. This is what he said in his book, Revolution of Celestial Spheres. The hypothesis of the movement of this Earth is only one which is useful to explain phenomena, but should not be considered as absolute truth. So here is the dunce himself, Copernicus, telling all the dunces, don't believe this crock.
Yeah. They always tell you the truth in some way. You know, they're trying to fool you, but the truth's always there for you to choose to take on board or not.
Yes.
You always have the free will to decide which direction you're going to go.
Yes. Yes. And intelligence should be the guide. Now, I'm not talking about conditioned intelligence, because that's what we see. That's what causes people to be stupid. The false ego, the mind of the material mind, and material intelligence. You see, the Creator, Krishna, uses 8 material energies, and 3 of them are subtle, false ego, material mind, material intelligence, and 5 of them are gross: ether, fire, air, water, and earth. These 8, we are made of this compound. But all of these exist on a higher plane. We have true ego, we have spiritual intelligence, and spiritual mind. But why are we not applying them? Why are we insisting to use our conditioned parts of our unconditioned parts? Why do we insist to live under the false ego? Why do we always apply our material mind and our material intelligence to things? We should be free from these. And the only way to be free from this is to give service to the Creator. Only through service can we know the Creator. not through anything else. Speculative philosophy will never cut it. You can be reading books for thousands of years and you will never know the Creator. And see, this is what Isaac Newton once said. He said, it's not the mind that cannot accept the Creator. It's not the mind of man that accepts the higher truths. It's the heart. The heart is corrupt. The heart has been polluted, mostly with animal flesh. But the three worst demonic teachings are the eating of animals, the globe, and gravity. And I will draw my last breath deflating them all and destroying them all.
Yeah, good on
Until
you.
we live in a world where none of these aberrations exist, we will never be free. We will always be controlled and harvested, because those three are what are prohibiting our ascension. Those three alone. Everything hinges on those three demonic teachings. And we have to lose them. The quicker we lose them, the quicker we will find peace and prosperity and happiness on this beautiful plane in which we live.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. Santos, I'm feeling a little bit rude to your friend there. I'm wondering if she has any questions or anything she wants to add. Would you like to ask her? Or
who's that?
this friend here.
No. This is a very good friend of mine who's a syncretist who is just listening. That's all.
Just happy to listen. Okay, that's
yeah. Because I thought this was going live, and I thought I could share the link. I didn't do that on Facebook, and so, but because I didn't get time to, and just as well I didn't. So because otherwise we would have had hundreds of people here.
yeah. I always, whenever I do my hangouts, I always do them private because I just have a small confidence problem. I just like to talk one-on-one, and then I'm just happy to release it onto YouTube after that. I'm not into self-promotion at all, so I don't go sharing it everywhere. I just let people find them and come across them.
Me too.
And that's the way I like it. So.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I could be posting my videos every day on Facebook. I probably only post once every 2 or 3 months, and you know, I think to myself sometimes maybe I should just have a page just to promote my syncretism, because if you haven't got syncretism, you've got nothing. All of these researchers who are specializing in this and that and this and that, it's all blah 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 blah. I get benefit from listening to them, but they just don't know how to join the bits all together. You know, for instance, when some people talk about astrology, they go on about this 13th sign. Oh, and then the heliocentrists came along and they introduced 12 signs and destroyed the 13th. Bull. The 12 system is timeless. It's always been 12. So when I hear these idiots, I think, oh, please, you need syncretism. Please, everyone listening to this, just study syncretism. Without syncretism, you know, diddly, squat, diddly, squat, diddly. Nothing. Only syncretism is our path to ascension, salvation, and true intelligence. Until you're a syncretist, you're a dunce. You're a dunce until you know syncretism. You must know the wave. And I'm saying this with love. I was a dunce before I knew it. I'm saying it with love. You are pure dunce unless you know syncretism. Get to know the sine wave. And even though my presentations are based on the heliocentric model, it doesn't matter. The information is all good there. It's all good. It's all because it's all based on the sine wave. It's not based on a flat Earth or a globe Earth or a square Earth or triangle. I never did that. I did not do that. I based all of my information on the sine wave. And the sine wave is there, it's intact, and it is how you understand syncretism. And without syncretism, all of these researchers, even some of the flat Earth guys, you know, some of them are Christian and they're teaching their Christian perspective. Some of them are not Christian and they're teaching another perspective. And they've all got it wrong. Some people are teaching, for instance, that Pythagoras was the first bowler. Where did they get that stupidity from? From other stupid idiot, materialist, moronic speculative philosophers who tried to bring down Plato and Pythagoras because they were the true ones, and to elevate Aristotle so that we can be fooled forevermore. These people have to do their research and find that it's Aristotle that was the moron who taught about the ball. Pythagoras would never teach such ridiculous stupidity. He was a transcendentalist. He wasn't a holy science with holes in it, a la Johann Oldenkamp, the poor misled fool. Sorry to name names here, but these are people who deserve it. This is not people who in any way have any kind of intelligence that deserve any kind of respect. And I do it lovingly, because once they come back into the fold of the true ancient teaching of cosmology, then they will be respected once more. But until such time as, you know, they pay attention to cartoons like Danny Wilson and his cartoon shop, he's got a whole following of people and a YouTube channel based on NASA cartoons and the Orion Nebula. And every day it changes. You know, every day it's new, but Danny manages to see a monster in there. Oh, look, this is a monster, and his eyes are saying that that we come from the Orion Nebula somehow, or whatever. You know, whatever buffoonery he wants to say. All these people are like, you know, I've seen those there's the seals at the zoo when you give them a fish.
Yep.
Give us more clown cartoons, Danny, master of buffoonery. Give us more cartoons. Everything NASA does, all of those images, that's all cartoons. That's all the blue marble. That's the Humpty Dumpty blue ball.
Yeah.
No one lives on ball. You see, but half-cocked, half-witted people, they look at NASA's images of of Jupiter and Mars, and they think that those are actually balls too. Instead of buying their own telescopes, looking for themselves and seeing that those things are not terrestrial bodies, they are not balls.
No, absolutely not. I don't know if you've ever seen Ashley Webster's channel on YouTube. She's been doing a lot on stars through telescopes, you know, and what they actually look like. Look nothing like giant suns in the distance. You know, they are these magnificent, beautiful lights in the sky that are full of geometric shapes that change and
always change.
You know, so beautiful and magnificent, and so close to us. You know, not billions of miles away. So anybody listening, you check out Ashley Webster's channel, because she's really done some good work on that. People just seem to turn to NASA and expect the truth, even though it's just a show. You know, for anybody that's got their eyes open and they watch all those, you know, the NASA launches and what goes on in the NASA room when these launches are going on, it's like some big party. They're all patting each other on the back, and they never give any real kind of scientific reasoning. You know, they're just talking mumbo jumbo, and it's just like one big joke to them. They're just having one big laugh on our behalf. You know, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, you can see how they're laughing at us. If you look at the last European rocket launch, which happened yesterday, I think, you will see that all the criminals who are funding these false hoaxes of going to outer space, you can see them laughing at each other with their Masonic handshakes and all of these Masonic ways of communicating and ways of indicating that they are laughing at us. You'll see them, even the Chinese buffoons, the space program there of buffoons, you'll see them laughing every time they launch something. You see them giggling. They're actually giggling and laughing, knowing that they can't go to space. You can't go through the vault. You just cannot penetrate the Van Allen belt. It's just impossible. The radiation is too intense. So this is why the rockets go up and then they level out and then fall into the sea.
Yeah.
And so what they're doing is teaching, selling people a lie so that they can steal their money.
Yes.
Very clever of them to make this fractional reserve blood money system, which is connected to the military-industrial big pharma complex, so people can take their pharmaceutical drugs and be treated. I'd rather be cured or healed. But they're quite happy to take all these pills and with side effects and everything like that, and they're quite happy to support, you know, these operations of invading countries and stealing their wealth and killing children and women and civilians unarmed, murdering, butchering, raping, pillaging, profiteering, scamming. It's just a bunch of scumbags, and this is why I have repeatedly in this interview mentioned that it's all demon worship, and I will not do an interview ever again where I will not mention the source and cause of all of our troubles. It's demons. Forget about the Vatican, forget about the Jews and the Khazarians and the Hyksos and the Bilderbergers and the Trilateralists and the Commission on Foreign Relations and the Knights of Malta and all of these pedophile gangs. It's demons. And the lips of Santos Bonacci will forever, wherever he goes, will always be denouncing these demons and their stupid followers. 95% of humanity are just stupid followers of demons and demon worship and globes and gravity and all sorts of crocs, which I will never fall for ever again.
Yeah.
Why? Because I'm too intelligent and I have syncretism. And that's not arrogant to say that. We are all intelligent. But we suspended our intelligence. I suspended mine. I knew that all the sacred texts, I knew they all of them subscribed to geocentric flat earth model. All of them. And yet I went ahead, I just went ahead and I used, and here's the earth, it's a ball and we're going orbiting around the sun, and so
there's one thing I wanted
I'm going to fix that up with a vengeance.
Because in some of the presentations I've seen that you did, and you know, you were using the heliocentric model, there was always this sidereal time, you know, where we're supposed to be coming into the time of Aquarius or whatever, but we're not because of whatever. And how does that sit now? You know, it does. In my mind, I expect all that sits a lot sounder now, you know, that we're all on the level and we realise everything's spinning around us and we're not spinning around the bloody universe. What do you say about that?
Yeah, look, all of this relativism, doublespeak, you know, that up is not up and down is not down, it comes from demons. Hillary Clinton, that's a demon. Don't ever think that someone like Hillary Clinton is just a normal woman with empathy like you and I. You must understand these are Nephilim demons. They themselves are demons and they promote their demonic teachings. So children here in Australia, you know, they go to the zoo with their mummy and daddy, and their mummies and daddies are so stupid that they will even encourage them to think, oh yeah, we're upside down and gravity's sticking us up, you know. We're all stuck by gravity and we're upside down in Australia because we're in a ball and we're spinning. And the little children have to do mental acrobatics and suspend their own intuition and have cognitive dissonance for the rest of their lives with this buffoonery. And the adults subscribe to it. The children are indoctrinated by this filth. And it's all putrid demon worship. And I am here to vanquish demon worship and demon teachings forever. That's my job. And I don't care if I have to do it alone. I don't care if anyone supports me. I don't care if I have to block every single friend that I've ever had. Even if it's my mother, even if it's my son. I will draw the last breath exposing these three putrid demonic teachings of meat-eating, globe-worshipping, and gravity-adoring buffoonery, because those three are our only impediments to true peace and security. Once we get rid of these aberrations, and I ask all intelligent people to join forces with me. I don't care if you don't, but I offer the invitation, because one day you don't take up the invitation, you're going to look like a real proper buffoon, dunce / moron, because you believe that you're living on a bowl. Fancy that. Fancy that. Intelligent human beings believing such filth.
You've been convinced to ignore your own senses. You've been convinced to leave common sense behind. You've been convinced there's no up or down, when that's the easiest thing to prove, you know, that there is an up and a down. Yeah, it's baffling to me. It's baffling to me. It really is.
It's very, very sad. At the same time, I get enjoyment from seeing all the half-cocked, half-witted pretenders of truth. You know, everyone wants to be well, I'm a truther. I'm in the consciousness movement. They're eating meat. They think they live on a globe. They believe in gravity, something that Newton or no one else believed in, but just tongue-in-cheek sold it off to all the goy dupes.
Yeah. And
they're truthers. I will expose the half-truthers. And they've already been exposed and put to shame. Your Danny Wiltons, your Johann Oldenkamps with their pseudoscience, science with holes in it. The science with holes in it. There's another website that I used to be associated with called School of the Holy Science. Please go there and see the morons that are there. School of the Holy Science. I'm ashamed that I ever was a part of it. Run by Ruth Smith. She's a demon worshipper, believer in globes and balls and hocus pocus. I pity them. But off they go, half-cocked. Oh, we've been told we live in a globe. I can't see it, but I'm going to promote it because I'm stupid. Can't help you.
No.
I've offered intelligence to people through the sacred books, you know. I've offered them through Plato's words. None of this is mine. I'm not original. Everything I teach comes from the sacred scriptures, but they don't want a bar of it. They love NASA. They love the globe.
Yeah, people worship NASA, and above that, people really worship gravity. You know, it's like gravity is a god to people. You know, it just bewilders me. Yep.
Time for all of us intelligent ones who use the higher intelligence, not the material intelligence. Remember, there are two. There's the 8 material energies of the Creator, 3 being subtle, 5 being gross, and they have their spiritual counterparts. And we are the ones that are to reactivate those. You see, Jesus spoke to Nicodemus and he said, unless the Son of Man is lifted up, you can never go back to heaven, and you cannot be born again. And we must be born again in our true intelligence. We must trust the Holy Scriptures, not the school of the holy science with holes in it, or the holy science of Oldenkamp's holes with holes in it, a bucket with holes in it. Not that science, pseudoscience. They've only got pseudoscience to offer. Because I know for a fact that they have not read this, that they have done superficial reading here and there, a little bit on the internet, and they think they're experts. Whereas me, I've devoted my whole life to the sacred texts. And I trust the sacred texts. And the sacred texts, geocentrism. Everything else is demon worship.
I'm interrupting you here, Santos, but when you say born again, can you just define that for me? Like, do you mean born again in this realm here, or on a higher level?
Both. But being born again means simply just to not be spiritually dead. See, Jesus said, "Let the dead bury the dead." And then in another verse he says, "Do not marvel at this, for the hour is coming in which the Lord will call all those in the memorial tombs, and they will awaken." Those are more memorial tombs. It's not necessarily the graves, it's your body. You see, when you put your arms out stretched, you are in the shape of a T. Your body scribes the letter T, the Vitruvian Man of Leonardo da Vinci.
Yeah.
This is the great secret. This is a tomb. Tommy, you are entombed. This is why you have an anatomy.
Yeah, I get that.
And so you have been baptized in death, and you have forgotten your true self, who dwells forever with God. And so to be born again is just to remember that. That's all. It's called the anamnesis, the remembering. To remember that we are one with God in quality, not in quantity.
So
yes, we are qualitatively God.
When I was about 3 years old, I have a very distinct memory of forgetting everything that I once knew. And it was almost, I was awake, but it was almost like a dream where it was all slipping away. Is this kind of what you're talking about? You know, where we forget what our true selves are?
Yes, this will happen. This happens all the time. All through our lives, we do have moments and glimpses of our true remembering. We do remember who we are, but then we forget. Yeah. We very easily forget. Sometimes we go to that universal place in our dreams. Sometimes we just have a flash, a moment of brilliance. Mm-hmm. And then the distractions of this material plane soon, quickly enough, distract us enough so that we're diverted and we forget. But sometimes some people have a higher awakening. You see, most of these half-truthers, they haven't had an activation. They haven't had a Kundalini activation. Unless you have a Kundalini activation and you've done the good work, alkalizing your body and meditating and bringing that energy up so that you see the blue light up here and all of your head is filled with blue light luminescence. Unless this happens, forget about it. These are half-truthers. I know that these people, these names that I have named, they have never had an activation, because otherwise they would be more intelligent and they would go back and trust the ancient texts which tell us that we live on an immovable, non-rotating plane. Only those orbs, those spheres, what we call spheres or stars, are moving. We are not moving. The earth does not move. It is firmly fixed, and it shall not totter forever and ever and ever and ever. This is a non-moving plane. Yeah. And so when you know this, then you start, and then it also, and knowing this also, it's like a catch-22. It actually activates more Kundalini awakening. It's when you merge syncretism with geocentrism, with transcendental holy science, not science with holes in it, a la Johann Oldenkamp selling, used car salesman.
I'm just going to interrupt you. I'm just going to say goodbye to my husband. He's off to work. Just be one moment. Sorry about that.
No problems.
Yeah, so my husband's off to break his back for another man. So
yeah,
that's the sadness of life here.
Yeah. Look, I really appreciate the interview and having me on. Yeah. I will, though. I will apologise for being so so hard on the unintelligent ones. And all I wish to say is, you do have the intelligence, everyone. We all have the intelligence. I'm not here to offend anyone or to hurt anyone.
No.
We all have dignity. We all have intelligence. All I'm saying is, you've been hoodwinked. You have been utterly, utterly hoodwinked. Repent from this stupidity. Anyone who's listening, repent. Do not listen to these controllers. Do not listen to institutions. Do not listen to Rome and all their lies and the double-speak people who tell you that up is not up and everything is relativism. It is not. In the scriptures, in the book of Isaiah, the Creator says, woe to you who are making white, that are making what is good bad and what is bad good, and what is up down and what is down up. Woe to you. Woe to these people who are teaching this filth. We all have the intelligence. We've just suspended it. My anger is toward this. My fight is only toward ignorance and stupidity, not people. People do not enter it. Even if I name names, I'll even call myself stupid. I'll throw myself in with those stupid ones. I don't care. I care for truth and for prosperity so that we can be free. One day we'll be free from these demonic teachings, and we will have music and joy and bliss and prosperity. We will be dancing. Sister, we will be dancing forever and singing and chanting the holy names of God. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. 16-word chant which will bring you directly to heaven. Or, if you want to, chant the Om. There is nothing greater than the Om. Om. And this is the word of God. Or chant the goddess, Radharani. There she is in all her beauty. The lover of Krishna, Sri Krishna. And Sri Radha is always there. Always with the Lord. She's the Queen of Heaven. And she gives many, many gifts to us, but we must serve the Creator. We can't continue serving our bellies.
No.
People who serve their bellies are sick. They're very, very sick. They don't know they're sick. Their minds are sick. Their emotions are sick. Their hearts are sick. Their bodies are sick. Look at people, the way they look. They've got wrinkles and everything. I'm 52. I'm not going to see any wrinkles because I eat raw food. I eat chlorophyll and salt, Celtic sea salt and Himalayan sea salt. Salt has electricity in it. Sugar has no electricity in it.
Yeah.
See, people don't know how to charge their bodies. You see them sitting at cafes with poisonous, toxic cow's milk, boiled with 6 or 7 sugars in it, eating a croissant full of sugar and white starch, and they're fat and bloated, and their skin is all red and wrinkly, and they're all puffed up with diabetes, and they're eating all these cakes, and people are sick. We got to stop eating this poo. People are eating poo. Meat is poo. It's just filth for the body. Sure way to die and to be diseased on the way to death is to eat meat.
Yeah.
The moment you put meat in your mouth, your mind is crippled with putrid disease of demonic kind. You are possessed of demons the moment you put flesh on your tongue. The moment you even contemplate it, it is demon worship. And this is what I'm here against. And this is all I will preach against now. From now on, anyone who listens to this interview and wants to interview me, be prepared for me to denounce demon worship, meat eating, globe, gravity, buffoonery. That's all I'll be doing from now on with my syncretism. You see, all of these Danny Wiltons, they just have envy for someone like me. Why? Because I have syncretism. And what have they got? Cartoons. Oh, here's a little cartoon of the Orion Nebula. And here you go, all my other little demon worshipping club fans. Give me a like. And they all liking him, you know, like the seals in, give me one more fish.
Yeah.
Another trick. And they're all dancers.
I
Blind
mean,
leading blind.
Yeah, absolutely. Blind leading the blind. I mean, not on the same level, but in the same realm. You know, if I was to post something on Facebook where, oh, I'll post my dinner on Facebook. This is what I'm eating tonight. I don't do this, but for example, I get, you know, like 50, 60 likes. I post an honest truth about something about the world, and nobody looks at it. You know, it's like
Oh yeah. If you tell someone that you had a bit of pig's bum for breakfast, you know, bacon and eggs, oh, they're all,
yeah.
you know, the moment you try to wake them up and say, think for yourself, do you really think you live on a globe? Oh, I'll stab you in the eye for criticizing my belief in the globe, you murderous heathen. How dare you say we live on a flat plane? And that's about the extent of their research. And they will defend it. And all the while, the criminal Illuminati, putrid pedophile families are just enjoying seeing all of these idiots defend their lies. Defend their lies. They vomit forth the lies, and then all of these idiots go defending them. Like these dumb seals at the zoo. I shouldn't offend the seals. The seals are much more intelligent than half of these half-cocked, half-witted buffoons.
I just have one more thing before you go, Santos, and that is the programmed response of people that, you know, the second you bring up that the Earth may not be a globe or may not be what we've been taught it to be, the programmed response is ridicule, instant ridicule. And for me personally, that was one of the biggest waking moments for me, because I was questioning this and I was having a dialogue back and forth with my brother, and anybody that I brought it up with instantly said, oh, you're stupid, you're an idiot, you don't understand science, you know. And it's like this response has been programmed into us. They don't even know why they're saying it. They've not even looked into it, you know. So it's it's kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but
well, it's like this. When you absorb these demon teachings, you become demon possessed. And it's very, very hard to exorcise demons from deep, deep within your heart and soul. And these people have not done any exorcising of demons. They haven't had a Kundalini awakening. And I recommend to anyone, please, 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 first and foremostly, do some meditation. Be alone with yourself. Go into your heart. The truth is in your heart. And allow the energy to rise through your spine. Concentrate in the middle of your head, in the space from the middle of the head to your top of your head. Focus on this area in the middle of your head and direct the energy there where the RAM is, Aries, the cerebrum, and the pineal gland. And even if you don't get an activation, you'll get a partial activation. Any 5 minutes you spend doing this, you will benefit. But you must do this. Once you do this, you'll be free of demon worship. Because those two Kundalini serpents that have been suppressed and coiled down at the bottom of the spine, that is what's causing people to follow after demon worship and believe in the globe and defend it with all their life. Defend something that doesn't exist and it's pseudoscience buffoonery. And yet they appear to be intelligent. You see, all those guys I mentioned before, Johan and Danny and Ruth, and they've got as much intelligence as I am. I'm not saying they're stupid, but they have suspended their intelligence. Therefore, in that sense, they are stupid. And I'm not saying that I'm super intelligent. I'm just saying that I'm allowing my intelligence to flow because I've done the work. First of all, I've done the research, and I know that all of the cosmologies, all of them, are geocentric and flat earth. Not one of them is dealing with his ball buffoonery. Secondly, I've done the meditation, I've had the activation, and I know this. I don't believe it. These people are believers. Belief is good. if it's not belief based on pseudoscience. Belief is only good if it's based on direct knowledge.
Yeah.
And I have the direct knowledge. This is why I put my ugly face in these videos for the sake of mankind. Not so that they can look at my ugly face, but to listen to the wisdom, not from me, because I'm just another dunce, but from the sacred texts, because I have sweated over these books. I've done the work, and I'm bringing them out to people in the public for free, for their benefit. That's loving. That's love.
Yeah, that is love. Yeah. Wow. Santos, I must go because my children are going to be waking up any moment, but I have to thank you for giving me the time and such an expert talk over the subject. Hopefully sometime in the future we can do this again, if you're happy to do that.
Anytime.
And I'll be in touch. So I'm gonna wish you well and have a good day, the rest of your day, and we'll speak again.
Thanks, Annie. Take care. Until next time.
Until
Much love.
next
Omnia
time.
vincit veritas.
Thank you.